What's in a name? If you've ever been tasked with naming a new program, crafting an article title, or coming up with the name of a signature event, you know the answer. Everything starts with the name. Hi, and welcome back for this special bonus episode of Season 1 of the PAR podcast, Association RevUP. I'm your host, Carolyn Shomely, and I'm the Director of Content for the Professionals for Association Revenue. If you tuned in for the first 8 episodes of this podcast, you know that we took a comprehensive dive into association business while using a unique format, all while keeping it to a concise 25 minutes or less. Today, I'm back with a quick behind-the-scenes sneak peek into PAR's in-person conference that inspired this podcast, the RevUP Summit. I won't spend the next 10 minutes offering tips on naming your next program, although I may file that idea away for a later episode. But as our team at the Professionals for Association Revenue prepares for our 3rd annual RevUP Summit, I did find myself reflecting on where we began and how far we've come. Imagine this, the Professionals for Association Revenue Business Development Conference. Are you intrigued? Googling the name so you can register immediately? It doesn't quite ignite your interest, does it? And yet, nearly 3 years ago, that was the first name on the board when our team gathered to brainstorm PAR's first ever in-person conference. It made its way into the meeting notes, which I recently revisited, but never any further than that, because we instantly knew that name did not properly encapsulate what we were attempting to build. So our team, along with our advisory board, got to work on coming up with better options. After several ideas made their way to the whiteboard, Revenue Live, the Rise Revenue Summit, Revenue 360, Revenue Now, Revenue Go. Ultimately, the RevUP Summit made its way to the top. And now, 3 years later, I'm so glad that it did, because that name began to shape everything about our approach to the event and the experience we wanted for our event attendees, our partners, and our presenters. Think about it. RevUp means to become more active or effective. And isn't that the goal for every attendee leaving a conference? To be just a little more active, a little more effective, a little more aware? No matter where you begin, the RevUP Summit is designed to rev up how you approach the business of your association. And when it comes to the energy of the event, we make sure to rev that up too. Social events, dynamic keynotes, delicious food and drink, a unique hotel in a charming city, and yes, a carefully curated music playlist. We didn't call it Revenue Party, also a name on our initial list, but in many ways, that's what it is, because it's a chance to gather with peers, celebrate our wins, and build a home for association business. So to help you rev up for the 2024 RevUP Summit, this episode will share previews from some of the voices you'll be hearing in November. Because all of us at PAR have been conference attendees too, we also have looked at a conference agenda for the very first time just minutes before selecting which breakout session to attend. That's why we thought it would be important for you to hear directly from the presenters about how they're pioneering the future of business. And then that way you can decide which session best aligns with your goals for your RevUp experience. If you haven't registered for RevUp yet, the next few minutes will give you a snapshot of what you can expect. Because we get it, your time and your financial investments are valuable, and you want to ensure that both will be maximized. So take a listen and reach out to me directly if you have any questions. Lead, learn, earn. Those are the 3 breakout tracks for the summit. It's our way of ensuring that there are session options for everyone, from the experienced C-suite professional to the newest association team member. As an attendee, you can choose whichever session appeals to you the most, and you can switch between tracks, regardless of your role within your association. Let's start off with a look at the 3 lead track sessions.
When we are talking about revenue health, we are talking about maximizing the resources that we have, and that includes determining where is the best ROI, what should we be leaning into, what things might we want to pull back from or even sunset.
Determining pricing for your association's programs and products is a challenge that Dr. Michael Tatanetti will address in his session, Where is the Value? Creating Win-Win Value for Your Organization and Members. He'll use high-low mapping to help attendees juxtapose value creation against effort and show you that data, not feelings, is the key to pricing strategies.
One sneak peek takeaway that attendees can expect to walk away with from our presentation is not only something that is super practical that you will be walking through during the session, but everyone is getting a copy of our book, Pricing for Associations. So that is a very practical tool with templates that you can use for your pricing and value strategy.
Next up, Patricia Ramallo of the National Council of Architectural Registration Boards. She'll be joined by Elizabeth Engel of Spark Consulting for a lead track session on innovation and practice, getting non-dues revenue right. Here's Ramallo.
The discussion will center around how associations can leverage lean startup methodologies to drive growth in smarter, more sustainable ways. One major takeaway from the session is the exploration of the minimum viable product. This method allows organizations to launch small-scale initiatives, quickly gather feedback, and refine ideas before committing major resources. Following this approach allows risk to be minimized while ensuring programs align with member needs. This session will offer valuable insights for anyone interested in transforming their association's revenue strategies through data-driven decisions that maximize impact and reduce waste.
And rounding out the lead track will be veteran association executives Dan Cole and Chris Strong for a session every association leader needs. Sales skills for the C-suite, how to land your next 6-figure deal. Here was Cole during a recent PAR webinar as he spoke about audacious sales leadership.
Don't sit in the glass house, be active, be in the pits with the salespeople. And that is one part of audacity in terms of setting the example that I've always found to be very, very important. You're not asking people to do what you wouldn't do yourself.
Moving to the Learn track, attendees will leave with new ideas surrounding content, data insights, and educational offerings. Beginning with content, Crystal Kopaz of RevMade and Amy Repke of the Association of Corporate Counsel will share how to turn content into cash, what association execs can learn from B2B media.
We all know how critical non-dues revenue is. To grow it, you need the right products, pricing, and sales strategy, and it's not easy. This session will be full of ideas for you to steal from companies that have already been piloting new approaches to content monetization. And we'll be sure to include plenty of practical things you can implement immediately to start creating and selling new products at your association.
Moving into data insights, Manisha Mangaze of High Road Solutions will be joined by Suzanne Carawan of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors for a session focused on how to use data and technology to surface potential members and customers. Here's Mangaze on why data and technology is a game changer when it comes to connecting with the right audience. And she uses an interesting analogy that will bring it all to life.
I think it's widely acknowledged today that the philosophy of if you build it, they will come doesn't really work that well. You can push your products and services as much as you want, but it doesn't result in those big numbers that we used to see way back in the day. So we're using a fishing analogy to help guide the discussion and make it a little bit more relatable. We're not going to turn you into fishing experts, but we are going to guide you to think like a sports fisherman does. Let's say you're on a boat in a lake, you've got your fishing pole and your net. You can see the fish swimming around, and so now it's time to catch them. So how do you make them jump into your net? How do you make someone buy your product or membership? And the hard reality or truth is you can't make them do anything, but what you can do is build ongoing trust on the value of what you offer so that then when they are ready to buy or jump into the net, you can actually catch them and of course drive up revenue that way. So how do you build that trust and measure it digitally? Well, that's what we'll cover in our session. You can influence and nurture the right person to recognize the value of your offer by using data and technology.
And finally, rounding out the Learn track will be David Upbin of the Mortgage Bankers Association, as he shares his association case study to show the benefit of bundling education offerings to generate revenue and save clients money. The third and final track falls into the Earn category and focuses on ideas, strategies, and tactics to help revenue producers build their association's bottom line. Kiera Tobier is the Senior Revenue Marketing and Content Manager for the American Chemical Society and will present the X factor in association event sales is marketing. Here's how to make yours more effective. She'll show how associations can modernize their sales marketing approach for annual events and draw on her expertise and experience at ACS, where her efforts have led to 25% growth in exhibitor spending.
A robust revenue marketing operation is critical in promoting available exhibitor and sponsorship opportunities. It's crucial to maximize what exhibitors are willing to invest. This synergy is most effective when there is a close collaboration with the sales team, who lead critical conversations and build meaningful relationships with potential exhibitors.
Next, Vinu Deschetti, Joe Colangelo, and Barbara Armentrout team up to show how to transform your sponsorship strategy with data-driven ideas to boost non-dues revenue.
Now, in the corporate world, you see a lot of this where companies are now identifying what an intent is. When somebody visits a website, they can determine, are they looking for just information? Or are they actually having an intent to buy? And so as soon as associations can start capturing that type of data points and able to share that, they become even more valuable to sponsors and to exhibitors. So no longer do you just charge, $2,500 for a booth space. You can now double it because your value that you're giving back is so much more.
And finally, Marcus Malik of SCRS, Michelle Bryan of Matchbox, and James Young of the product community show us that not every new revenue idea is elusive in their session, Alternative Revenue Opportunities Hiding in Plain Sight. So take your pick, 9 breakout sessions to help you pioneer your association business forward. Plus, 4 main stage keynote sessions and 1 inspiring panel with the finalists of the 2024 Pierre Award. My thanks to our RevUP presenters for joining me for this quick bonus episode of Association RevUP. Their insights and expertise show why the name RevUP was the perfect one for PAR's annual conference. As you prepare for your time in Annapolis, or as you consider joining us, remember, as much thought as we put into the naming of the RevUP Summit, even more goes into ensuring that it is the best professional development event for association business pioneers. We want every session, every song, every interaction with our PAR team to inspire you to rev up your work. Join us November 19th for a pre-conference workshop from the team at Tagoras. This half-day session is geared toward the work of association continuing ed and professional development leaders. Then, join us on November 20th and 21st for the RevUP Summit. Register today at revupsummit.org. Thanks for revving up with me. I'm Carolyn Shomley, and I can't wait to see you in Annapolis.